G'day guys, it's Dave here from Old Rigs Down Under. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to feature a white 2150 tractor. Now it's a pretty rough old diamond, this one, as you can see. Pretty knocked around and bashed around, and yeah, really not attractive at all. But anyway, I just thought I'd have a bit of a look at this engine on it. It's got the 585 cubic inch Minneapolis Moline engine. At the moment, it won't turn over with the fan. As you can see, that dare say she's got a gut full of water into there. But I just checked the oil on it, and it looked okay. There's a little bit better white there. This one here is a bit of a red-headed stepchild. But anyway, it's all relatively complete. So I just thought I'd have a bit of a look at it. And there's the oil there. Show you the bloody thing. And it's below the mark, so could have water in it. But it hasn't sort of got through, and it's not sitting in underneath it. It's probably just sitting on top of a piston if there is any. Look, realistically, there's probably only a couple of valves open. But we don't really know how much it's got in there, if it's got any. Well, look, I imagine it's got some. But I was just going to take the starter motor off it and just see if it'd break free. So we'll give that a crack, and if I can get the thing to move, I'll try and get a revolution or two out of it. And we might see if I can, put a couple of batteries in it, clean some terminals, and see if it's got a chance of starting. But I don't think the engine's going to be in good enough nick to do that. But you never know. So I'll just set this camera up now. All I'm going to do at the moment is just remove a couple of these leads and remove the starter. I just actually started there. I've got that difficult bolt. But I'll just I'll remove the starter motor, and I've got a big lever bar in there on the crankshaft. Sorry, on the flywheel. Try and spin that crankshaft over a bit. Might be dead tight, might not be worth worrying about. But if I can get it free, well, I might just roll it around, give it a couple of revolutions, crack the sump plug, make sure there's no water sitting in underneath the oil, put a little bit of water in the radiator, and just possibly try and wind some fuel over. So, yeah, it's a bit ambitious, but you never know unless you have a crack. So I'll set this camera up now and, yeah, get this starter motor off, eh? Righto, so I'm just going to spray a couple of these terminals. Like the Plainsman, when I bought it, was stuck as well, and I just worked on it a little bit, and it did come free. So depends on how much water's been in there. Yeah, so this tractor's got the 585 cubic inch Minneapolis Moline engine. This was the first series of the white tractors that had the silver sheet metal and this style of cabin on them. So this is a Minneapolis front end, Minneapolis front axle, up until this point here. I don't know if you can quite see in the video, but the straight rails have run forward on the Minneapolis, not this rusty thing that's been bolted on for the blade frame, but the original gusset and forward brackets here were made to adapt the Oliver back end. So in the red tractors, like you may have seen in some of my other videos, they used the Oliver transmission. So the 3-speed with the 6-speed behind it, and that's what this one's got as well. Pardon me. Got the full effect there. I do apologise for standing in front of the camera here and blocking the view of the starter motor a bit. There was just a couple of wires to take off on the positive side, a couple of earth wires to take off, and of course the trigger wire, as well as the mounting bolts. Usually I set the camera up on a tripod or just in an elevated position that can capture most things, but sometimes inevitably you do get caught standing in front of it and blocking the view, so I do apologise about that. Just put a tie through those just so I'll have less chance of stuffing it up. I'm going to put it back on. It's just an earth down here. Get rid of him. I just bought this tractor for spare parts. I was actually thinking of just using the complete back end out of it on another project, but yeah, this just caught my eye. So, I mean, if it can free the thing up, well, you know, it might probably changes the bloody Stories tractor a little bit, tractor story a little bit. So, I just don't know. I mean, it's probably, like I say, I mean, by the look of that exhaust, it's pretty crook, but you never know. So, certainly worth trying anyway. Be bloody 3/8. Smaller again. Lucky bastard. 3/8 mil. Oh yeah. Yeah, this tractor has been sitting around for a long time. I mean, as you can probably tell, I've had it now for a couple of years, and I've never really bothered to go this far with it. I just tried to spin it over by hand at the front, and it was stuck. But I mean, there is a possibility it'll still turn with a bigger bar on it. One bolt to go. Looks like we've got everything fairly clear of in terms of the wiring. Step on the last little bit there. Tight, actually. Oh yeah, that's comes. Oh yeah. Well, at the moment, you can see a flywheel in there. So we'll take Mr. Lever bar. Certainly a bit tight. Don't think it's going to move somehow, but got a little bit of movement there. Audio, not a lot of luck. It is moving a bit, so I might just sort of work on freeing it up a little bit. I'll come back to you a bit later on. Sometimes that's the best way to remove a rusty clamp. Just want to get rid of that exhaust because it's going to fall down and kill someone. Oh no, it should be loose now. Certainly giving its share of problems. Well, I think we can probably bin that. Alright, so I've just cracked these manifold bolts off. I've got the two end ones which are a bit hard to get, but I'm just going to zap it off now, have a look inside it, see where the water's gone and just maybe try and get a little bit of WD-40 or something into them, just to try and free it up a little bit. So that's got them all. Some of these washers get on there tight. It's like it sort of wound its own way onto the thread, and you have to wind the bloody thing off. It's a pretty ugly picture in there. Fair bit of no good. Righto, I'll just get you across and show you. So here's the ports and the exhaust on the Minneapolis engine. Pretty ordinary in there. So what I'm going to do, I'll just get some air, compressed air, and blast them all out. Get all the shit out of them that I can. And then soak them in a little bit of diesel or WD-40, and I'll just keep rocking it back and forth in on those splines there. So I'm just using the big lever bar in on there and lifting upwards and downwards. And if I can sort of get it to move a bit, I'll just keep on working it around. So you get the idea of what I'm going to try and do. It might come good, it might not. Doesn't look great, but let's give it a go. So as you can see here, I've just put a little bit of mixture into these open cylinders. So I've actually had a little bit of success here, getting this engine to break free and turn over. So I've just been using just WD-40, but putting it into the cylinders with that spout and container. So I've been putting it just in the tight ones, and as one opens up, I just keep on pouring a bit of this stuff in, and just got it to a point where it rolls over not too badly. So I mean, what I'll probably do now is get the thing spinning over with the starter motor, which will just spin it a lot quicker than what I'm doing it here. But I'll do another couple of laps with this thing just to keep it moving. So at the moment you can see which cylinders are coming to the top. Probably make a mistake here, I'll get covered when that comes up and spits it out, but just trying to do that with each cylinder. So this one's just starting to come back up and give me a bit of a shower now. You can see a little bit of rusty coloured shit coming out of it. But that's in the direction of normal engine rotation, so clockwise from the front of the engine. Rightio, so I'm sort of happy enough with that. So I'll check that air intake. I notice I've got a hose off here at the front, little water hose, which comes around to the side of this thermostat housing. So yeah, I might just like I say, the oil's okay on the other side. So I might put this starter back on, just put a single battery in it, and hook the leads up on the other side and just make sure we're not getting a dead short or something silly like that. Anyway, well, keep on plodding along, having a bit of fun. Hopefully the camera's steady enough there, guys. I'll just quickly show you what I'm doing here. I'm testing out this starter motor. Got to improvise a little bit around here when you don't have a cameraman. So I've got you sitting on a chain that's hanging between a couple of uprights on my toolboxes. Bloody positioned in place lovely with a couple of cable ties. So if I could take a photo of it I would, but because it's actually in there in position, won't be able to do it. Anyway, so what I'm doing, just basically testing this thing. Obviously once it's in the tractor I'll put a couple of decent sized batteries in it. It's just like an N70 style, probably 670 CCA. So I'll try not to give you too much of a shake there. You're just hanging, so it's a bit hard. Anyway, so what I've done, I've just run it round to power round to the front of the starter and just earth to the negative post on the starter. Took me a little while to get some clean connections on the battery there, but I did just clean them up, and I've got about 0.02 of a volt drop just between there and there, so maybe just a little bit of a crook connection, or like the jump lead, you won't get a great connection, but anyway, we're pretty good. So we've got nearly 12.7 volts here. So what I'm going to do now, rather than just get a screwdriver and across these terminals, I've just hooked up this wire, which is way bigger than what it needs to be, but I'm just going to touch the trigger wire here on this solenoid, which will pull it in and spin it as well, hopefully. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's just, yeah, flicking in, pulling in, no worries at all. So that's good for what I want to do over here. I haven't quite worked out what I'm going to do for the electrical system yet. It's missing an alternator. So whether I just run a couple of batteries with a power wire to the fuel pump and a trigger wire to start it. Maybe that's what I'll do, but I'll get it back on. I'll clean the solenoids that are there. Usually on these tractors, all your power solenoids down below the starter motor there. So I'll just clean the earths, clean the powers, and yeah, get it back on there. then I might be able to rob an alternator off another tractor. They're only a pretty basic one. They're only got a charge wire in them. But I'm in thinking about it now, I reckon the power to the cab comes off one of those solenoids. So if I bolt this back in with a couple of batteries, we should have power to the cab. So we could even have a key working yet. Anyway, I'm just charging up a couple of batteries. I actually thought I had one here. This one's not too bad, but it's yeah, I don't know how it'd load up, but yeah, I've got another one on charge. So I think, you know, just to turn the thing over, I think this one and probably one other good one will do it. So anyway, we'll bolt this starter in, clean some wires up with a bit of sandpaper, yeah, but at least we know that like starts well there now. Like, it's nice and free in here. It's been, you know, it looks really clean. It's no rust or anything there. So yeah, keeps on surprising me, this thing. The cab's a bit of a disgrace. It's a pigsty. I've never really cleaned it out just because it's been a bit of an old, yeah, it's just going to be a parts tractor. There was nothing good about it. The engine was locked up, but anyway, you never know. We'll keep on progressing and see where we get to. It's got a little bit of water in the bottom of this oil, so I'm just going to let out what I can, or probably drain the whole lot. I've got some little bit better stuff here somewhere. Yeah, a little bit ugly. So I'll just let that drain out. No metal on the plug. It doesn't feel too bad there. But while it's going, I might as well just put a bit of fresh stuff in it. There wasn't much water in there, but it just was a little bit shitty at the bottom, so let it go and put some better stuff in, and that'll be right for this job anyway. Looks like I might get it all in that drum, which would be handy. Probably not quite the bugger. I reckon I probably got a couple of filters there too. I could spin them on, but anyway, well, I'm just get a bit of fresh stuff in it, and then I just want to spin it over. I'll try and do that tonight. Just chuff it over. I've undone all the injector lines. I don't think it would start anyway, because there's no power to the pump to energise the fuel solenoid. So once I've got it spinning over and I'm happy with the shit that's coming out of it, I'll bolt the manifold back on, and yeah, then probably get another battery hooked up to it and work on getting some fuel up. Righto, we're here with a new day, and just done a couple of things to it. So I just found a couple of filters in stock, and I found a fuel filter as well. So I replaced the oil. Had some new stuff here. Well, new stuff, but I reckon it's just had a little bit of moisture in it, so I don't use it on anything good. But anyway, it might be fine. It looks fine. There's certainly no water in the top of it. But anyway, so that did the job for what I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do now is a couple of things, right? So I've just run a wire here, just off my positive terminal, and I'm just going to see if this, on this Roosa Master pump, if there is, if I can hear the solenoid clicking for the fuel shut off. So that'll give us a little bit of an indication, not 100% indication, but a bit of an indication of whether it's going to supply and stop fuel. So when we get to a point of cranking it over, and I'm happy that all the shit's gone out of the manifold, and I'm happy to run with it and try and start it, I know that I'm going to be able to at least supply fuel, and what I'll do is just run a wire to this with a clip on it. But anyway, just for the time being, you can see here, obviously it's a single power wire, and if you look at that, it's earth to the body of that solenoid. So well, you can hear it clicking. So that sounds good enough for me to commence proceedings, so to speak. So what I'll do now, this fuel filter, if you haven't seen them before, sort of nearly need two hands, but anyway, that just clicks on there with that wire clip. You can see that end piece in there just moves. Anyway, same as a John Deere. It's probably where you see the common application. Some of the cats use them, like on a Ford Cargo or something like that. So anyway, that's a bleed port there. So fuel comes in here. There's a drain on the other side. That's out to your pump. Right, hose is a little bit perish looking, but it'll be okay for today. So I'll just crack this off. These have got a fuel tap at the bottom of the tank. In under here. And if you can see over here, see it's already starting to bring fuel into that filter. Beautiful old yellow diesel. See it's already catching a little bit of stuff there, but that's its job. And you'll gradually see it come up to the top. And this will just get out what little bit of air that's in there, because it'll just fill to the height of the fuel tank, and it looks like it's got a bit in it. So now we'll struggle with this for 5 minutes and waste all the fuel. Yeah, so that's pretty easy to change a filter and bleed it. I do have some stuff here that I might put in the... Usually leave this stuff for the cooler weather, but I might just put it in there today, just because this has been sitting around a long while. And I'm just a bit worried about the injector that's had a bit of moisture on it. So I mean, it could be buggered, but we'll give it a drink of this anyway. Oh yeah, so at the moment we're nearly up for cranking. So what I'll do is put another battery in it. I've got my button set up on the other side. So we've got, like I said, we've got oil and fuel sorted out. I tried to fit an alternator this morning without a lot of success. The mount's pretty buggered, so I won't worry about it just for starting it up. But like I said, the got our button here for starting it up. I'm just going to chuff all the stuff out of the manifolds. Once it's spinning over okay, I'll bolt the manifold back on, and then we'll concentrate on getting some fuel up. Well guys, that's the end of the first part of the video. I've decided to split it up into two parts because there was so much footage and it would have gone forever if I coupled it all together. So this one obviously focused more on the preparation for getting it to the position where it's going to turn over, and the next video will focus on trying to get the thing started. So I hope you've got something out of it. Please like the video, tell your friends about it, and also stay tuned for the next video, which will be the attempted startup. Thanks again guys, I really appreciate you watching.